Greetings, fellow conquerors. This is darkfireslide, and welcome to EU4. This isn't going to be a Let's Play. This is going to be a short recap video where I talk about my experience with a very tough nation that I played in single-player time, where I'm not basically doing Iron Man. I love playing small nations. I hate playing them on Iron Man, because it is the most frustrating thing. And the nation we're going to be talking about today is, if you don't know who they are the little nation of Trebizond here in Anatolia. Now, I can't say the Caucasus. I had one viewer be very clear to me that Trebizond is not part of the Caucasus. This is still Anatolia, or Asia, even if you want to go by the Latin, I suppose. But anyway, let's keep it short, simple, and sweet. So, how do you do the start? I read around. I'll admit. I kind of figured the first part out on my own, and then I needed to. I read a guide on the Paradox forums. If you're ever looking at how to play a nation, the Paradox forums are a great place to check if you want to just if you just Google it, basically. Right, let's look at this, because I actually did have someone in particular ask, hey, how do you do this nation? Because I can't figure it out. Okay, so here's the thing. As Trebizond, you start out next to two hordes who can attack you at any time, and they will. So, you may have to restart because of that. And basically, you need two things to happen in order to get the start rolling. First of all, you need to... QQ needs to attack Georgia. And they need to get in the war with them. And then what you do is you immediately send your troops to Kartli and start sieging Kartli before QQ does. If QQ starts sieging this, and then you need to restart. That's just all there is to it. And the problem is, your force limit is only 7, but you need 9,000 troops to actually siege this province. So you have to take out a bunch of loans just to get the number of troops you need to actually besiege this province. So that's painful. The other thing that you need to happen, while that's going on, and actually, if Circassia doesn't rival you, they will usually rival Georgia, and you can manage to squeeze an alliance out of that in the meantime, and then not give Circassia any land, immediately turn on them, basically, and take their land in a future war. And then if that's the case, then you don't need to go above your force limit, which is nice, because Trebizond starts out not making enough money to actually pay for enough troops. I don't think they can support even 1,000 troops without losing money, so very difficult in that respect. Most of your income comes from looting other nations. So after doing that with Georgia, you need to at the same time be fabricating a claim on Theodoro. And the reason you want to do this is because getting this much closer to Poland, which by the way, Poland is your only friend in starts like these in this area. Generally speaking, either that or Muscovy, because you are Orthodox, but you need to fabricate a claim on Theodoro, which is across, it's in the same sea tile, so you can fabricate a claim on it, and then you can usually get access through everybody in order to get there and actually, fight their army and kill them. And sometimes Theodoro pulls, something out of their ass, and somehow their troops are better than yours, even though they have a worse general. Probably just dice rolls not going my way. So you need these two things to happen, and where it gets frustrating is oftentimes Crimea will just attack Theodoro very soon, and that causes problems, and sometimes QQ or Akkoyunlu will attack you instead, and that's very frustrating, and sometimes you miss the siege when you get to Kartli. But if the stars align and you get all of this set up, then I would make a save there if you're not playing on Iron Man. And even if you are playing on Iron Man, this is going to be your start. You're going to take a couple of these provinces from Georgia. You're going to take Theodoro, and then you're going to try to ally Poland and Lithuania. Right. So that's kind of the guide. That's kind of the beginning opening of what you want to do as Trebizond if you decide to play as them. And the particular reason I chose them is because I really liked their ideas. I like the legitimacy and chance of new heir is very good for a a monarchy, and it's stuck in a situation like this. Yearly prestige I really like. You get idea cost minus 10%, free diplomat and diplomatic reputation, morale of armies plus 10%, domestic trade power 20% is really strong, and goods produced is really strong as well. And spy network construction without having to take espionage is also pretty good as well. So pretty much a very well-rounded and solid idea group. And one thing in particular I really hate when I'm playing smaller nations is when I do all this work and I end up with a really crappy idea group, by the end of it, and that's just the worst feeling to me. So I'm really appreciative of Trebizond's ideas because they're quite solid for a nation of this size. Now that being said, let me, people have been asking specifically to see, the quick, the save file. So without further ado, welcome to the year 1696. This game is not complete yet, and as you can see, I do have a lot of saves for this file, and you'll notice there's like a V2. I actually restarted this attempt at this nation. I restarted 6 times before I got to this V2 save, where I was actually able to make things work. And then there were multiple times, most of these like saves are when I was about to attack a nation that I wasn't sure I could win against, like the Ottomans, for example. Obviously, I didn't take the war with the Ottomans because that didn't work. But we can actually go through each of these saves. So let's start with V2 Part 1. And as you can see here, by this point I have taken over most of the Caucasus. And I've achieved the alliance with Poland, and it is 1468. So in 20 years, this is about where you want to be, I would say. And then if we hop over to the next save. So this is 6 years later. I believe I was about to attack either Crimea or the Gold... No, I just got finished attacking Crimea and the Golden Horde. Or Akkoyunlu, rather. Not particularly sure why I saved here, but I guess I felt nervous about something. Probably I was about to attack the Golden Horde, if I had to guess, because I think it was a solo war. Next save, we're still pretty, it's very slow goings when you play a nation like this for sure. Again, probably about to attack someone. Now, it's important to note by this save that I have managed to get an alliance with Muscovy, which is important because, having that extra insulation against the Ottomans, and this did come up later, because in between this, this last save and this save, I managed to vassalize Gazikamuk, which is important because having, until you have religious ideas, and I would say that here you definitely need to either take humanist or religious ideas, one of the two, if not both. Actually, both would actually be really good. But until you have the religious conversion from religious ideas, it's really important to take a Muslim vassal who can make use of all this land. Just be careful not to get them above 100 development, because otherwise they'll get that nasty 25% liberty desire, which is going to cause you a lot of problems. And it caused me a lot of problems, as we'll see probably in this next save. Nah, it wasn't this save, but as you can see, we have expanded very far into QQ at this point, in between the last save. And you notice that the saves get less frequent as time passes, which is really important. And then I actually had a quick save. This was a backup file, which is fine, and more or less, more of the same. It's very slow going when you play starts like this, and this is arguably like one of the toughest areas in the game to start in. So if you mess up as you're trying to do this, don't get discouraged, and just keep trying. It's a learning experience. It takes you a lot of practice and a lot of luck, basically. And if you prefer not to do luck, there's no shame in just playing, somewhere else where you can more reliably do things. Because this start is just genuinely suicide. And I had, it's worth noting as well, one thing I noticed about Trebizond is, all this land is garbage, basically. And so, I had loans for, basically until 1600, I wasn't able to stabilize my economy. And I had just 10, 15, 20 loans. Go ahead and load the next save. And that's the kind of thing you could expect when you play Trebizond, when you play a small nation of this type in general, is you're just going to have constant loans, tons of inflation, your economy is just garbage, and that's just a fact of life, really. So we're in 1564, and we've expanded a little bit more, used our vassal to get some land so that we don't have to pay admin points, so that we don't have to deal with the issues of religion. We can just leave our vassal as Orthodox. And unfortunately, it is close to this point that Gazkamuk actually gets his independence supported by the Ottomans and Akkoyunlu. It's not here. I'm trying to find the save where it happened because it was pretty awful. By this point, I am trying to integrate a vassal, and one thing you should note when you're doing anything in this region is particularly difficult because it has the increased coring cost, and that applies to the cost of annexation for vassals as well. So you're not getting out of it; you're just paying Diplo points instead of admin, which is usually fine. You know, we'd rather pay Diplo around here. Not like you have any boats or anything to really deal with, unless you're really into trade ideas. Which I will say this. If you can expand into Persia and Astrakhan, these are both fairly decent trade nodes. And of course, if you're not like me and you do manage to actually get into the Ottomans' land and get into that rich Constantinople node, then you're going to make a lot of money from trade there as well. I think we may have actually missed the war with the Ottomans, but basically what happened was the Ottomans did eventually attack, and I had to fight Gazkamuk and the Ottomans with Poland, Lithuania, and Muscovy, and I actually had to reload because at first we lost. We actually lost the war, and so I had to reload. And when you're playing on Iron Man, like that's it. That's like game over basically, because then the Gazkamuk has an alliance with the Ottomans. You have no way of beating them because your own army is just gone by that point. And then you see here, I play for another 50 years, and I westernize. I annex Gazkamuk, and I westernize. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think I was fighting Ryazan, though it doesn't say that I'm actually at war, so it's very confusing what's going on here. But anyway, yeah, I westernized. I probably shouldn't have. This is the start of it. And I felt like I needed to do it because I was really falling far behind on my admin and Diplotech, and that corruption was really getting to me. So I felt the need to westernize, just so I could catch up on those two categories and then still go out and expand, basically. And by this point, I've taken humanist ideas, defensive ideas stacked with the the morale of armies that Trebizond gets naturally. So it's a really good synergy. Diplomatic ideas, just so we could swing more alliances if need be, because the situation changes a lot. You never know when Muscovy and Poland are going to go at it. And we started taking economic ideas because our economy really was just trash. And more importantly, I wanted to lower my inflation because my inflation had been, it was at this point still 12 to 15, something like that. So pretty high amount overall. Finished westernization. Nothing really happened in between because the amount of, crap that you get is just a lot when you're westernizing. And lastly, we get to this save here in about 1700, and I didn't really finish this game. I didn't feel a need to. Mostly because I felt like moving on. I might come back and finish it at some point, but I wanted to get a video out before I just either completely abandoned it or finished it and didn't make a video, because a lot of people were really interested in seeing the Trebizond video, seeing the recap of it. So, and basically at this point, I would probably just start expanding into Yarkand, into Uzbek. Who's Yarkand allied with? He's allied with Utsang, Jaunpur, this Indian nation here, 590 development, very good military ideas, just being a constant pain in my rear, and only now, first of all, I got imperialism, and only now is my military really starting to catch up. So anyway, this is Trebizond. I hope I hope that you enjoyed the video. This is more or less what you can expect from this kind of nation and in this area. The same strategy more or less applies to Circassia and Theodoro and Georgia, of course, as well as the two Caucasian Muslim nations of Gazkamuk and Shirvan. And QQ as well to a lesser degree if the Timurids do explode, though they do that with less frequency these days. So anyway, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you would like to see more recaps like this in the future, leave a comment. And anytime I do a single-player game, because I usually play as difficult nations, and if you see that save file, you know, I could start doing this as like a regular series. So let me know with a like and a comment if this is the kind of thing you would like to see in the future. Just kind of these one-off, not really guides, but just kind of a quick recap on the game itself. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.